Another week, another episode of We Real Chicago. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm still on a high from the verses. You know, the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Last week, we got to see the Elements and the Isley Brothers sing for the free 99 on Instagram. Who do y'all think won? I'd love to root for Earth, Wind, and Fire, but honestly, I think Ron and the Beard got him. You know what I'm saying? Ron and the Beard got him. And it's been a beautiful week. Chicago spring is in full effect. Tonight's episode is all about paying homage to the people and the places that have shaped Chicago's music scene, like George's Music Room out west. Now, our first guest of the night is Precise. Precise is a music journalist and city manager for the Chicago arm of Rolling Out magazine, and later Crystal Roberts, who is currently the sales planning manager for BET. She'll be joining the show to talk about DMX, his career, and his connection to Chicago. She also organized the free DMX concert at George's Music Room on the West Side all the way back in 2001. Oh my gosh, that seems like a long time. So don't move, stay tuned. It's your boy Rom J, Triibe TV. We Real Chicago starts right now. Joining me first is Precise. Welcome to Be Real Chicago, brother. Thanks for joining us, man.
Ron J, thank you for having me, brother. How are you?
You already know, hey man, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. Man, how's your week been so far?
Hey, my week has been awesome. And just real quick, Earth, Wind, and Fire won that battle, just so you know. I just have to put that out to you real fast.
Okay, I guess
Real Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire won that battle.
And you know, I was rooting for the Elements. I think it's just the hype on social media after Ron and the Beard. It's just I'm getting swept up in the hype, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So before we dive into the Rom J report, Precise, just tell the people, man, what you do, who you are. For those of you who might not know you, please, brother, the floor is yours.
Word. I'm Precise. Some people know me as Eddie Lamar. Other people know me as Precise. I do a wealth of things. I do everything from photography to writing. I'm also a journalist, and I'm also an MC. So people know me. I get down on the mic. I do my thing. And I'm the city manager for the Chicago arm of Rolling Out, which is a Black-owned media company based in Atlanta. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm excited to share any information and hear anything new with Rom J right now. Thank you guys so much.
Most definitely. And we're excited to have you on tonight. As they say on Sunday mornings, we glad to have y'all here on tonight. And since tonight's show is about paying homage to the people and the places that have shaped Chicago's music scene, tell us, Precise, who are some of the folks in Chicago's music scene who deserve their flowers right now, man? Like, who's a couple people you can name who you'd like to give recognition to? And today, later on in the show, we'll focus a little bit on Mr. George Daniels, as you know, from George's Music Room. He's got to be like one of those people, right?
Yeah, definitely George Daniels. That goes without being said. He is a legend. If there ever was a legend in the city of Chicago, George Daniels is it. I remember going back, you said 2000 was a long time ago, that he did a Sprite shoot there before 2000. I can't remember the exact year, but anybody who's notable in Chicago hip hop now was there, except for maybe Kanye. I don't know if Kanye was there, but he might have been, and it was right on the side of that building that you see right now with a big old Sprite mural in the background. It was amazing. When it comes to the Chicago artists, right now, I was scrolling Facebook earlier, and I don't know if you're familiar with the infamous syndicate, Shauna and Tifa. Are you familiar with them?
Oh, learn me a little bit of something.
I'll learn you a little bit from them. So Shauna and Tifa are a female rap group. So they've been around for many years, over 20 years. Amazing. Shauna actually used to be down with DTP.
DTP, of course, we know about Shauna.
Of course, you know about Shauna and Tifa. They had a group, so they just put out a video over Mobb Deep's infamous beat. They're about to come out with an album. I cannot wait for it to come out. The other artists would be Saba, of course, G Herbo, is really dope. It's a brother by the name of K-Stack. He's real dope. There's so many. No Name. I mean, I could keep naming Mick Jenkins. They just go. Chicago has such a wealth of talent. I don't know if people truly understand what we give to the world when it comes to talent and the skill level that we bring to the world. Even going all the way back to Earth, Wind, and Fire, if we just start there and what they gave to the world, all the way up to Kanye and everybody that I just named. So those are a few artists. And I did a top 21 artist for 2021 for Rolling Out. There were a few artists on there that are pretty dope. She Go Turbo.
She was on the show.
Yeah, She Go Turbo. She's awesome. Her skill level is awesome. Who else was on that list? Lajay was. She's on there.
Really talented artist.
Yep, very talented artist. Mama Million, Josh K, who's actually he just dropped something recently with. I don't even know. I don't understand it, but he there's a couple of guys on there. One guy might not want to be named, but it's dope because Josh K is dope. There's so many artists. There's so many artists from Chicago, man. I could keep going.
Yeah, we got Josh K coming on the show later on this month, actually. So everybody stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about him. He's been blowing up lately. But with that, and look, we got Precise in the building. It's your boy, Rome J. We Real Chicago. Let's go ahead and start the Rome J Report. Now, Precise Rome J Report is where I talk about Chicago arts and entertainment news. But, of course, we do things our way. So, like I said, you're like my co-anchor, Precise. I'm ready. If you're ready, let's get it started, brother.
Let's do it.
All right. So we really are all we got, folks. These times have been hard for most of us over the last year, but one thing that's been great is seeing folks come together to help out. Now, local artist and activist group Black Rising is doing just that by teaming up with another community organization called Pull Up the City to raise money to build community gardens on the West Side. Black Rising is a collective that focuses on organizing, abolition work, and mutual aid. And Pull Up the City is a nonprofit org that's cleaning up vacant lots on the West Side. Now, the money that is raised will be spent on garden toolkits for the kids and to pay the instructors and artists. And you can support by donating at Black Rising on Venmo. And be sure to check out the scene and learn more about upcoming events like these and from both groups. All right, so man, Precise. I was sad to see the Wolverines, man. Michigan, they lost in the tournament last week. And as you know, I'm sure Chicago's very own Juwan Howard was almost directly after that. He was named Coach of the Year by the Associated Press. So as you know, like huge honor, of course, especially for a black man, a black coach.
Yes, sir.
And Juwan Howard, he's a CPS grad. He played in the NBA for nearly 20 years. And was an assistant coach. Of course, we know about him in Michigan, the Fab Five, and all the history that's there, But what do you think about just what he's been able to do and accomplish with the Michigan program in just, 2 years' time? What does that say about him, Precise?
So what a story career. And this just lends back to what I was saying in terms of what Chicago truly gives to the world. This gentleman was able to have an amazing career for himself.
Absolutely.
And then go take a team. This isn't any top 10 team, Big Ten team. This is Michigan we're talking about. Yeah. And in the last 2 years, build them up to the powerhouse that they've always been, right? So I think this is an amazing thing. I'm proud of Juwan Howard. I know CPS is definitely proud of him, and Chicago loves that he is being celebrated as Coach of the Year.
Most definitely. He deserves it. Shout out to Juwan and that Michigan program. Shout out to Big Ten. Big Ten was going hard this year. So
hard. Shout out to Illinois, too.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Even though they left a little bit earlier than we would have liked.
Right.
We get them next year and see what it do. All right. And well, speaking of basketball, let's go to the NBA just for a second. It's been a wild week for the league and for my main Paul Pierce. He had it's been a couple of wild nights for Paul. But there's also a new documentary called Moment of Truth. Speaking of the truth, there's a new documentary called Moment of Truth out now on Amazon Prime that does a deep dive into the death of Michael Jordan's father, James Jordan. Now, Jordan's father was shot and killed in 1993 at the height of his son's NBA career. The series focuses on the men that were convicted of killing James Jordan. Precise, have you had an opportunity to watch this documentary yet?
I haven't yet, but I saw a clip, and what the first thing I'm concerned about a few things. You know, the trauma that's going to bring back up for Michael Jordan and his family, and like really what the point of this is, like really why they digging into this, right?
So precise. What do you remember about James Jordan's death, like at the time? Because he died in 1993. I was 1 year old. So tell me what you remember at the time.
So it was just one of those things where you get up in the morning, you turn the news on, and then you see his Cadillac, or I think it was a Cadillac, on the side of the road, and they say that he's been shot and killed. And I just remember the city kind of stopping in that moment, because we all know what Michael Jordan means to Chicago. But the thing about Michael Jordan was that his family was included. So we knew who his wife was at the time. We know his mom and his dad. They were all intricate parts of his career. So to know and to hear that news at that moment, everybody knew that was going to hit Michael Jordan hard, and it definitely hit the city hard.
Yeah. And, there's been, like you said, there's been like a lot of media things circulating around this. I think there's like an old episode of Law and Order that was like low key kind of based off of James Jordan's murder case. And, of course, last year or about a year and a half ago, ESPN put out that Last Dance documentary. And of course, we all got a chance to see that. Moment of Truth is now available on Amazon. So check that out if you're interested. It's available now. So speaking of docuseries, Precise, did you hear the news that we're going to see one about Kanye West soon this year?
Yes, this is one thing I'm very excited about, because you see the brothers right there, Cody and Chike. Yeah, they've been rolling with Kanye for a long time. Yeah, and I've known these brothers since there was a spot called the Liquid Kitty, right? So I know you was one in '93, so you don't know nothing about the Liquid Kitty. What they used to do at the Liquid Kitty was basically show old school movies, right, in this club, and then basically party around that at the Liquid Kitty. Common drops a verse about it in one of his songs, but they had that camera with them everywhere, and you can go on YouTube and see clips of them interviewing like a young Kanye. I know that they have great insight, and they have they have backstage access to whatever Kanye does. So this is going to be a great documentary, whether you love or hate Kanye. But again, Chicago is giving the world some more greatness, and I love to see it.
Yep. And they bought it from Kanye. Of course, those two gentlemen right there, as you named, Cootie, of course, and Chike, they directed it, sold it for $30 million, according to Billboard. The docuseries is going to focus on the early days of Kanye's career in Chicago, his work in fashion, and that 2020 presidential run that I'm sure we'd all like to forget. I heard it costed him a ton of money. And
he's a billionaire now, so that doesn't even matter.
True. But I mean, when you pay like $30,000 to get on the ballot in Nevada and get like 5,000 votes or whatever.
What's 30,000? I mean, it was an experiment.
True. I guess you're right. At that point, it's just a drop in the bucket. Well, Chike and Cootie have been rocking with Kanye since the beginning of his career. They directed music videos for Kanye's singles Through the Wire and the third version of Jesus Walks. The pair also directed ESPN's 30 for 30 film about Benjamin Benji Wilson, the Simeon High School basketball star that was murdered in 1984. Precise, it's been interesting to watch what's been going on with Ye over the years. He had some, he's had some public struggles, to say the least, with his mental health. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about mental health and celebrity later in the show, but because we'll talk about DMX. But what do you hope to see in this new Kanye West documentary the most, Precise? What's exciting you about this the most?
What's really exciting about this is to get more of an insight on the process of Kanye, as opposed to all the glitz and glamour and the flashing lights, pun intended, but just really to get a real clear idea of who he is as a man. As much as crazy as it's been for the past few years with regards to, this public persona that Kanye's have, at the core right now, he's a married man. He's a family man. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I love to know that we're going to be able to see this journey that takes us up to the point where he is now.
Most definitely. Yeah. I want to see what Kanye looks like when it's turned off, because we all can turn it on at a certain point in time.
That's right.
And, you know, we all flip that switch. I've got to be on camera. I flip that switch. I'm not always happy. I'm not always smiling, but we do flip the switch. And yeah, it's crazy, right? I'm not always this good looking either, but we flip the switch, Precise. All right. And, you know, I like to see what Kanye, what he's like when the switch is off. Mm-hmm. You know, just with that barrier down, what it would look like. That being said, thank you, Precise, my co-anchor for the Rome J Report. We're ready.
Awesome.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we'll go ahead and switch over to the forecast. I believe we're ready for the forecast. That's what I like to call this segment. So as y'all know, the forecast is where I predict the next wave of Chicago artists. Now, this week, I actually want to pivot away from that and give my first impressions of a new project released by Valee. But first, Precise, I hear that you're an artist as well. So tell us more about your music. Please, what music, you know, what's been going on lately with you? What have you been dropping? What's going on?
Well, the most recent joint I dropped is called The Cure. I dropped that in the middle of the pandemic last March. And it was actually a song that I recorded when Zika was a thing. You remember Zika virus? That was so long ago, right?
Wow. You like 2-3 viruses ago.
So it was crazy. I was going through my files, you know, being home and on lockdown, and I found it and I released that joint. It really is about just kind of focusing in on being positive and intentional and deliberate. So that's what that song is on. I'm also releasing a project called RAP, Architect and Precise. So it's a brother by the name of Architect out on the East Coast, and myself, we created an album right now. It's self-titled, thinking about calling it Cognitive Dissonance, maybe a few other names that are out there. But the songs that we have released right now are called Keep It Going and Get to the Bag. You can get those on the streaming service. And of course, I have my own music. You know, I had a group called New Birth back in the day. Shout out to Ayodele, rest in peace, and shout out to Creole, my people out there, Victor Moore. You know, we've been doing some things in Chicago for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I went solo, dropped a project called Ladies Love Mixtapes in 2014. Everything seems so long ago. Oh my God. Yeah. So in 2014, I got so much love for that project. That was really a project about relationships. I was kind of fresh out of into a divorce. So it's about the start of a relationship into the start of another relationship. Shout out to Ty Hill, who produced that. Man, you know, I'm really, as an artist, I'm really about using my voice as something that can push a narrative of positivity and transformation. So when you hear Precise, that's what I want you to know, that it's about good vibes and good things, right? So that's really what I'm focused on. And right now I'll be dropping an album myself. Right now it's titled Source Code. I have a few joints that are coming from that very soon. So I hope everybody tunes in and checks that out. And I'm on all your streaming platforms. Everything's, you know, Tidal, iTunes, all of that. So yeah, hit me up. All my information's at the bottom for sure.
Precise is in the building. We Real Chicago. It's your boy Rome J. Now, Precise, I gotta ask you, because this is like our music portion of the show. Mm-hmm. Earlier, I asked you, you know, who in Chicago deserves their flowers? Who should we appreciate? But forget that. Scratch that. All right. Okay. Damn the flowers. Who are you listening to right now? like Martin, you say, damn the flowers, Gina. Who are you actually listening to right now from the city? Who's got your ear right now?
Well, again, it's a young brother by the name of K-Stack. I'm always listening to Saba, G Herbo. Man, who else am I listening to from the crib? Man, everybody that I named are people that I listen to all the time. So No Name, all of these people. So I could keep naming them. Yeah, they're just all over the place.
Yeah, no, understood. Yeah, No Name's dope. The few times when she does drop, here now in between. You know, she's definitely dope. Saba's dope. I dig all those people.
Oh, and Vic Mensa and Chance. Vic Mensa and Chance too. They're amazing.
Vic's got a new project out called
Right.
I Tape. So very dope. They're very dope. Chance, of course, everybody loves Chance. That new single Chance has out too. Very dope. Where he shot it, he directed the video. Dope video. Anyways,
his Christmas special was off the chain.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Anyway. People. I don't know if we talk about Chance enough, but again, he's created some dope things, and I'm not one of the ones who jumped on the bandwagon and said that Big Day was a bad album. When his fans get old enough to get married, then they'll understand how great of an album that is.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about, and I think we talk about Chance enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do at least. I don't know about the others, but we do at least. So like I said at the top, Chicago rapper Valee, he has a new mixtape out. It's called The Trappiest Elevator Music Ever, and it is interesting to say the least. So good music recording artist and Southside native Valee, he collabs with up and coming producer AYOCHILLMANN on the new mixtape, The Trappiest Elevator Music Ever. The mixtape features 11 songs and 8 are brand new. And although fans love the thought of new music from Valee, this one is getting mixed reviews, precise. And I'll tell you exactly what that means. So far, 3 music videos from the mixtape have been released. I'm putting 2 of them on my forecast playlist this week. This first one is called HIMMYimmy. Like I said, mixed reviews. Now, Valee is not known for talking about really, subjects of hard substance. He raps about, shopping and his dog and clothes and his fashion and, and having fly cars. And for one, the HIMMYimmy track is about his car and his engine. And so to be honest, it's not my favorite track, but he thought it was good enough to make a music video for. All right. So I just want to know if it's just me. I don't know. Do y'all like this track? Please let me know. He does have clever punchlines, and his wordplay is usually always brazy. So tell me what y'all think. Give HIMMYimmy a listen and see if you like Valee's trappy elevator music. Let's roll a quick clip of it.
All she wanted Birkin bag, Birkenstocks, red bottom, flaming hot. She like gimme, she like gimme, color honey poo, honey poo. She fin eat the D like honey, do you hear me? Honey, do you hear me? And I'm walking around with an awful lot of loot. Think you finna follow who? Any foolery I shoot. I get neck like a tie. Think you finna follow suit. More to holla lemon soup. I get mouth like a scoop. I get mouth quarter I'm blue. Lauren Ralph polo blue. Pick your bitch photo booth. Nothing on me sorta cheap, so to speak. Go to beach. Bitch from Spain. Technically that's border breach. Yeah, on that bread like I told the waiter wheat. Yeah, Louis pants and I had to wait a week.
All right, so that's some elevator trap music for your ass right there. So and also shout out to Chamika though, who gave us some elevator music a couple of years ago. Really dope. Chinchilla Meek. So shout out to her, the unicorn, as always. Gave me one of my first interviews too. I always appreciate her for that. She's been down with us for a while. But precise, something is happening with Valee's sound, right? Like, is it just me? Do you remember those earlier Valee days? And
yeah, it's not just you, but when I think about, as an artist, and I think all artists kind of go through this. So I think he's in a moment where he's really trying to define his style. Because if you think about the early Valee, a bunch of people came and took his style and ran with it, right? So. Yeah. I think right now what we're hearing is somebody who's trying to like develop, kind of cement his own. Well, not that he hasn't done this already, but just cement something different. He's creating kind of a new platform for himself. And then when I think about the title of the project, the elevator, that's exactly what it is. And like you said, he's not one for really bringing substance, but his voice and his cadence is interesting. So it's going to keep people's attention.
Most definitely. And another joint off of Valee's The Trappiest Elevator Music mixtape that I want to highlight is the one featuring fellow Chicago rapper Bandland Zz. It's called Tinted Window. Bandland Zz is cool, of course. We know him from his big record a few years back called El Raque Rays. El Rays. That was a big record a couple of years ago in the streets. Him and Valee have that same kind of hush puppy style, you know what I'm saying? They do work well together. So their verses on Tinted Window, they sound okay. But Valee has this thing where precise he'll just repeat something over and over again and that's the course, you know. And in this case, the phrase is tinted window. So, you know, Valee is consistent though, using the same director for the video, Antoine Bryan, and his producer of choice for right now, which is AYOCHILLMANN. He usually picks one producer. It used to be Chase the Money. Now it's AYOCHILLMANN. So let's give it a quick listen. This is Tinted Window featuring Bandland Zz.
Tinted window, niggas can't shoot. Yeah, I got bitches in Chanel and Celine too. I run up the rats when I leave too. I wanna know what happened next when I'm with your boo. I'm all in a cat, I pull off in that when I'm finna school. I want coming back, Fendi on my hat, it's a bucket too. Yeah, FN on my lap, like what's up with you? Getting lap at the light, she can suck and chew. Yeah, I got 4 phones, y'all should listen. Yeah, I be in the bitch like some stitches. Yeah, I be making my y'all suspicious. Yeah, tinted window, y'all just missed us.
Okay, so just get this for a second. There might be something actually deeper going on with Valee. So first of all, Spotify, on Spotify, AYOCHILLMANN, the producer and the one who's credited with this mixtape, that's what Spotify proves, is that this isn't Valee's mixtape. It's actually AYOCHILLMANN, and Valee is the featured artist. None of the songs have been posted to Valee's official YouTube page. Then apparently nobody has heard of AYOCHILLMANN. He's almost non-existent on the internet. I've searched for his stuff on Google and YouTube. Nothing. On Spotify, the Trappiest Elevator Music Ever mixtape is the only music listed on his artist page, which is fine, but doesn't this behavior seem kind of strange for a major label artist like Valee? I mean, he signed to Good Music, which is a part of Def Jam, which is major. And I mean, Valee barely promoted the project, but he obviously had no backing from Good Music, which is owned by another Chicago heavyweight, Kanye West. And then rapper Pusha T, of course, he's the president of the label. Valee's manager, Andrew Barber, outside of a retweet, hasn't said much of anything. There's virtually no promo for his artist's new project. And that's just kind of weird, right? I mean,
that's not like Andrew at all. Andrew is like, he is Valee's cheerleader on Twitter. So, you know.
Yeah. And I just looked on his page. I mean, there's virtually nothing on his page about this mixtape. So, and these new videos that Valee and AYOCHILLMANN released, instead of putting them out under Valee's official YouTube page, which has over 80,000 subscribers, they're under the director's name, Antoine Bryan, who has a little bit less than 2,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. And Antoine is probably most famously known in the music video world as LVTR Toinne from Elevator Magazine. He's directed everybody's videos, from Shy Hoover and King L to Spenso, Tony Cartel, a good friend of ours, Angie Herbo. But still, why not put the music videos under Valee's YouTube channel, which just has more subscribers? You know what I'm saying? And the mixtape itself is listed on YouTube under a channel named Various Artists, not Valee's official YouTube channel. And as a matter of fact, Valee hasn't released anything from his actual YouTube channel in over a year. Since his video for Uninvited featuring Cowboy. Now, if you have a bigger following, Precise, why not post your videos to your page? I don't know if I'm just asking questions and, you know.
No, I think this is something very strategic, but it also speaks to your concern. I do think that there's something going on specifically with him. But what I'm feeling, I think these songs are feelers for the people, right? If this is a producer that he's been working with, maybe, and I'm just speculating, maybe Good Music wasn't all in, and they're showing that by their lack of support. But at the same time, in the climate that we're in now, you could drop music whenever you feel like it, just like
Facts.
this has happened, right? So maybe they weren't all in. Maybe the paperwork wasn't right, and this is what we get.
I'm almost ready to basically say that they weren't all in completely. Mm-hmm. I mean, that has to be it. And then to post it and then to basically not take credit for the work. Yeah, I can see them just putting stuff out there, feeling it around, seeing how fans react to it. I know the way I feel, and this is my reaction. I hope Valee goes back to making more songs like Shell, Juice and Gin, Womp Womp, stuff with actual words, actual hooks, actual verses, you know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, man, let me know what y'all think and check out the whole mixtape. It's called The Trappiest Elevator Music Ever, and form your own opinion. Precise, tell me, why does it always seem like, I don't know, Chicago artists get signed and they link up with these major record labels and then they end up getting the short end of the stick, brother? Like, why does that seem to be a reoccurring thing?
Well, maybe it's because the work on the front end wasn't done properly. So what's happening these days, and I think, like you say, we do talk a lot about Chance, but what Chance has done is he's kind of shifted the game in a sense where you don't really have to sign with a major anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
So now artists who do make that choice, and I don't think that is necessarily a bad choice, a lot of times I don't know if they understand the work that goes into signing with a major label. Essentially you're getting a loan and then you got to produce. This isn't just about putting music out and looking cool in your video. You got to work. And now because of how the world has changed, this work has to happen on social media. When you talk about a gentleman who has 80,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube to a guy who has 2,000, there's going to be a difference in the way that music impacts the world, right? Because there aren't that many eyes on that. So when it comes to a lot of the artists who are still making this choice to get signed by major labels, I think what happens is I think there's a disconnect with respect to the work that's involved and what they have to do in order to get relevant and then stay relevant.
Most definitely. So Valee is signed to Kanye's Good Music, and other artists have complained about the label before. I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen something up with Good Music. Back in 2018, Teyana Taylor basically blamed the label for the sloppy rollout of her highly anticipated album, KTSE. I love Teyana Taylor. I saw her a couple of years ago at the Red Bull Music Festival. She was amazing. But yeah, that's when she dropped Keep the Same Energy. Precise, just Good Music. Do you think it's the way? What is it? What's going on over there, man?
Because Kanye selling shoes, bro.
That's gotta be what it is. I mean, he's running for president. He's selling shoes. He's going through a divorce.
And the president is battling arguably the hottest rapper in the game. Destroying the hottest rapper in the game. And he just got married. These guys aren't focused right now.
He's stressed out right now. Yeah, he's stressed out. Pusha is battling Drake. They both battling Drake for real. They got
exactly. The whole label's battling Drake.
Yeah, they got.
I'm looking forward. I know this is real Chicago, but I'm looking forward to that Drake, man. He playing around.
Oh yeah. You talking about that Lover Boy?
Yeah, he's playing.
Oh around. Yeah, don't play with it. Yeah, this is real Chicago, but I will be waiting for that new Drizzy. That just is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so, hey, everybody out there, make sure you guys check out the rest of my forecast playlist. It's not all Valee. I got a whole bunch of Chicago features on there. Chicago's been really hot. They're featuring all over the country. Rod Wave, who's from Florida, Tay B, with Lil Durk, Curly Sav, and G Herbo. Of course, Young Boy Sprato. Of course, it's DCG Gang. Make sure you guys check out the rest of the forecast playlist. It's live on YouTube right now. We try and come up with one of these things every week, man. I'm trying to listen to new music every week. But thank you guys for joining us here on the forecast. Coming up next, New York rapper DMX is still on life support, according to news reports. Multiple news outlets today reported that the rapper has not regained brain function. DMX was rushed to the hospital after a drug overdose last week. The rapper born Earl Simmons is one of the most important figures in hip-hop. His raspy voice, delivery, and lyrical control have shaped the sounds of hip-hop since he first hit the scene back in the 1990s. To me, DMX is a motivator. When I listen to his music, no matter what he's talking about, it motivates you to grind harder. It boosts your confidence. DMX has some of the best songs to work out to, hands down. He gets the heart pumping. When you listen to X, it's like you find that dog inside of yourself. That's what DMX is. That fight that may be hidden or buried deep down inside all of us. He's a unique spirit and one-of-a-kind spark. He's a prayer warrior too, no doubt. We've all seen clips of his intense prayers throughout the years. He's kind, loud, and funny. My favorite clip of DMX is when a girl at Power 105.1 in New York, she told him she printed out the lyrics to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It must have been around Christmas time, to which DMX responds, I know the lyrics. And actually began to name off reindeer, y'all. You know, Donner and Prancer and Donner and Vixen. It was hilarious. And all the reindeer up all. What? Rudolph, come on. It was hilarious. Full ad-libs and all while making the beat on the nearest table. It was hilarious. And for a man whose name is Darkman X, he also knows how to bring a lot of people joy. He means a lot to all of us, man. And alongside being a rapper, DMX is an actor as well. He's appeared in hella iconic movies like Belly, Romeo Must Die, Cradle to the Grave, Exit Wounds, and I'm sure there's many more. And although we don't know what's going to happen in the coming days with his condition, I thought it was important that we at the Tribe take time to recognize a true original. And I've seen so much love from everyone online. Everybody's honoring the legend and praying for his recovery. And I hope he can feel the love and support from all of us, even people from the Rough Riders bike crew, his family, some of his children. They set up vigils outside his hospital in New York to let him know that the people are 100% by his side. And because everyone has a connection to Chicago, whether they're from here or not, I want to focus a bit of our conversation on DMX's connection to the city and the famous George's Music Room on the West Side. Precise, if you're still there, brother. What's the first word that comes to your mind, Precise, when you think about DMX?
Energy.
Yeah, most definitely. And tell me, like, just when you first heard DMX, what was that first song? How old were you? Can you tell me how old were you when you first heard DMX?
I can't remember. I was probably in my 20s or so when I first heard DMX for the first time. And all I remember is that R, like the Rough Rider R, the double R, and this guy barking in a video. You know what I'm saying? But what I also remember is I can't remember exactly what video it is, but the videos back in like the 2000s, they were just grand. So if you had a Hype Williams video, it was just colors and big production. And I just remember him standing on the roof with his hands up in the air, looking up to a helicopter. I forget what video it is, but his persona was always larger than life. You know, even the idea that he was able to drop basically 3 albums in a year and break all of these records. And there's never been anything done like that. There was never anything done like that before and since. His impact it just stretches along so many places. And man, just to know that he's going through this right now, my prayers are with him and his family. And I'm hoping very much that he pulls out of this.
Yeah, and you mentioned this. He's the only rapper to have his first 5 studio albums debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. He's the only living rapper to have 2 albums go platinum in the same year. That's his first album, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. It was released May 12, 1998, and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, released December 22nd, 1998. Like 4 times platinum, 5 times platinum. No joke. This dude was an animal. And like I mentioned, his voice is one of a kind. Not very many people sound like him. Precise, what makes his sound so unique besides the energy? What does it?
It's first of all, it's what he embodies. So X is from Yonkers. So when I say Yonkers and we talk about New York, we talking about grit. We talking about rough. I don't know what it is now if gentrification is taking it over, but when you think Yonkers, we're thinking about DMX. We're thinking about the Locks. We're thinking about Mary J. Blige. That's who Yonkers has produced. So when you hear DMX, you hear the spirit of New York come from him. He embodies all of that. I mean, even as we look at this clip right here, there are thousands of people, and ain't there no pyrotechnics. He doesn't have any dancers, but he's able to look what he's doing to this crowd.
There's no fire going off. There's no
nothing
lasers
happening, right?
Yeah,
it's just him.
Yeah, it's literally him and some overalls. He doesn't even have a shirt.
Come on, bro. So we really have to honor this brother and what he means to hip hop as a culture and rap as music. I hate that we had to wait till we got to this point in order to do this. And again, this is a reminder that, and like you did earlier, and I appreciate it, you give people their flowers while they're here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's what we've got to continue to do moving forward. Really sad situation with X, man. So we've been following what folks are saying online. We found out that that DMX he made a tribute song about Rudy Rangel Jr., also known as Kato, a former Latin King leader here in Chicago. The song's called Ayo Kato. Kato was killed in 2003. Now him and X were good friends. The three of them, him, X, and Fat Joe, actually, they were all good friends, and he was interested in music too, as it turns out. Had you heard about this song? Was this song on your radar? Did you know that this was about Kato?
Totally brand new to me. I know that looks like the House of Blues, so that's definitely in Chicago. But no, I've never heard that song. And that's Lisa E right there from WGCI. Peace, Lisa E. But I never heard that song. I had no idea he had that connection.
Yep. And this is real. And we got a quick clip of the song. We want to play it. This is Ayo Kato, DMX. Let's do it.
Okay, babe. Dogs that I call my friends, praying for all my friends, things I do for my friends. We miss you. Hey, okay. Started off two dogs with the same goals. Nothing but two dogs walking the same road. Two different cultures, but had the same heart. Enjoyed seeing the light, but lived in the dark. Fifth album bumped heads in the parking lot. Was a quiet brother, didn't like to bark a lot. Came correct when he came, gained respect, so I gave respect. We shared the same respect. Two named the threat in our own circles. Two brothers with good heart.
Passion, energy, life, realness. This is him rapping about his Puerto Rican brother. And so that's amazing. Another thing we found out is DMX did a free concert out west at the old George's Music Room location on Roosevelt off Pulaski. Get this, precise 4,000 people showed up to see DMX perform that day out west in October 2001. And we got the chance to talk with George Daniels, who hosted the concert at his place almost 20 years ago. Let's play that quick clip for our audience.
It was incredible. First of all, I have to give respect to the record label. Those guys, the Rough Riders, one of the head people, his name is Wop. When they came to Chicago, the bottom line is they had a great relationship with Chicago. One of DMX's real good friends here, his name was Kato, who passed some time ago. But Kato was a Puerto Rican, but him and DMX are very close, and I was very close to Kato, and he used to hang at George's Music Room. And so it was one of the first times that any record label used a flatbed truck, but it was totally designed for performances. And they showed up at George's Music Room, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. I always knew we always had in-stores going all the time, and it was for DMX. And he did a live performance in 2001 on a stage. It was just fortunate for me to be able to create an environment along with the political structure of Chicago that made it so possible for DMX to do that show there.
Now that's George Daniels of George's Music Room. I believe we have the entire interview available on our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check that out if you want to listen to the entire clip. But Precise, do you remember that Free DMX concert? Did you go to it?
I didn't go to it, but I definitely remember hearing people talk about it. George means so much to the city, and so many artists have come through the city that, the George's Music Room was a place where you had to be. And I'm sure it was huge. Again, I heard about it, but I wasn't able to make it to that show.
Yeah, and when we put a call out for stories and photos of DMX at George's Music Room, we put a call out for stories and photos for the show. You know what I'm saying? Well, Mike Love from our childhood favorite WGCI radio show, Bad Boy Radio, of course, that he hit us up in the DM. Shout out to Mike. Love those guys in this.
Mike Love.
Yeah, shout out to Mike and the Diz. He sent us a picture of him, the Diz, and Crystal Roberts posing with DMX backstage. And there's the picture right there. We've got Crystal. She's in the building right now. Let's go ahead and welcome her to the show. Crystal, welcome to We Real Chicago. What's going on, Miss Roberts?
Hi.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, a pleasure to have you here. So just tell us a bit about who you are and what you do for a second. Please, Crystal, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, my name is Crystal Roberts. I am currently the planning sales manager for BET Networks for the Chicago and LA offices. So basically, we're the ones behind the scenes, making sure that we do all of the advertising, commercial ads and stuff like that. Prior to that, I was the promotions director at WGCI, and I served there. I was there for about 10 years or so. Started off as a sales assistant. Well, started off as an intern, and then a sales assistant, and eventually worked my way to the promotions department. And yeah, so right now I'm at BET Networks here in Chicago. It's where my home office is. Well, literally home office. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, I guess.
All right. And Crystal girl, I gotta ask you, so what was going on in the picture? How did you meet DMX? What was y'all doing in this picture? Was y'all kicking it? How do you meet X, first of all? Please tell me.
Okay, so this was after the show at George's Music Room. So
right.
What happened was, DMX's people reached out to the radio station, to Elroy Smith, who was the programming director at the time. I'm sure everybody knows Elroy. He's a legend in the city. So they reached out to him, and he had real deep relationships with a lot of the record label people. And they gave us this idea. They were like, hey, we have this flatbed truck, and we've just been rolling it up to various cities, and we just pull up and do a free concert. So they were like, can you guys do this for us? Get us a location and stuff like that. So immediately, Elroy thought of George's Music Room, because we did so much stuff there with George over the years with various artists that would come into town, and everybody that came into town was at George's Music Room. So this just seemed like an ideal location to do it. George had really good relationships with the aldermen and all of the political people on the West Side, and the police department and everything, where we were able to shut down the whole block, put up a stage, a sound stage, and then they rolled in this tractor trailer and opened it up, and it opened up into this, this stage, and he hit the stage, he did his show. It was packed. I mean, thousands of people in the streets. I just wish we had more memorialized for that in terms of the pictures. I tried to reach out to the photographer that was on site, and she has them somewhere, but I don't know her file system. She was still looking for them last time I checked. But it would have been great to see those pictures, and just the sea of people that were out there supporting, X, and, enjoying his music, and just enjoying the whole environment with, George's Music Room. He was really popular in the community. And so it was just the ideal situation. So this picture is after the show. So the Bad Boys were
and Crystal, just to clarify the picture, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you the one sitting next to X or the one next to Mike?
I'm next to X. I'm next to X. I have the WGCI jacket on. The girl that's sitting next to Mike, actually is Carla Farrell, who now works on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. So you guys will hear her on his show. She's on there.
Right. Okay. But please go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So then this is after the show. Mike Love and the Diz were broadcasting live. So we went this was inside X's tour bus. So we were in the tour bus and they were doing drops for the radio station. And no, actually, I think it was a live interview on air. And so it was just, you know, it was a lot of energy in there, a lot of people in there. So you can't see everybody that's in there, but it was quite interesting. You know what happens after the party.
Of course. And, you know, so I can only imagine he was on 10. Crystal, to say the least. And Crystal, that wasn't the first free concert that DMX had thrown throughout his career. You know, tell us about the free concert he used to do, you know, why he did them. What was your favorite memory from that night? First, let's go back to that night. What was your favorite memory from that night? Take us back to George's for that night. What do you remember most from that night?
Well, that was the first time that I had ever worked with DMX and his people. And, you know, having worked with a lot of talent and their handlers and stuff like that, it could be a different experience. But the people that he surrounded himself with were very professional. You know, they took care of business. They were timely, you know, all the things that you want in an artist when you're trying to get somebody on the stage on time, because you got, you know, the production people that you don't want to have to pay overtime to, you know. So he was very cognizant of, you know, time management and making sure that, you know, people didn't get caught up in waiting hours for someone to show up on the stage. So all of those things that was a really good experience working with him. So that really was the only concert that I executed for him that I could speak to.
Okay. And you know, so, and let me go ahead and go to Precise. You know, when you think about the fact that DMX showed love to Chicago in this way, you know, how important is it for us to uplift and, you know, preserve Black cultural spaces like George's Music Room, or even icons like Mike Love and the Diz? You know, whenever artists stopped through Chicago, they used to always have to hit up George's Music Room, like y'all are saying. And of course, Mike Love and the Diz on WGCI. Just speak to that real quick.
I mean, it means so much because, as Crystal mentioned, the idea of memorializing such an amazing event is a window to a time where things were different and people operated in a different way. And it shows you how far we've come from that point. But it also gives you an opportunity to witness that greatness, right? So now everyone's talking about how great DMX is. You know, I'm not ready to say is because he's still here with us. Everybody's talking about how great DMX is in this moment. But back then, the lights were on, right? This brother was touring the city with a truck, a flatbed truck, doing a concert. Imagine what that means, and imagine what an institution like George's Music Room means so much to the city. And these are the kind of things that we are missing with the advent of MP3s and streaming and all of these things. But those connections mean so much. Being able to reach out and have conversations with the artists, really getting to know them in a space outside of this curated social media space is so different, right? So being able to preserve those type of institutions just means so much to the community because it shows us how it can be and how it once was.
Crystal, you're at BET and you're in Chicago. How important is Chicago to hip hop in general, would you say? You know, any and everybody who was doing music promo for an album, you know, they had to slide through here just like DMX did. You know, we're a major market in the Midwest. Just speak to that just when it comes to your experience and everything you do with marketing and everything, please.
Well, for sure. I don't really work on the music side too much or delve into the marketing side too much. I'm sales. But in terms of the impact that hip hop has on the Chicago community, it's major. You know, it's evolving, it's growing every day. It's way more impact than it was, I think, when we just had a couple of people that got the recognition. I think we're seeing more artists actually out there getting the recognition that they deserve. We had some great talent. I think that had some missed opportunities, you know, like, you know, Crucial Conflict and, you know, people like that, you know, just the longevity that they missed out on. I think it speaks to where we are now. And it's good to see that there are opportunities outside of the traditional ways of getting your music out there so that the masses can hear it. And so I think that's been a real significant help for a lot of entertainers that may not necessarily get heard by an A&R person. So now they can just do it themselves and put their message out there and, you know, get there. And to some point and to some extent, a lot of these A&R people are looking for people that already have a base, people that already have a following. They want someone that already has done most of the grassroots work. And I think a lot of the Chicago artists are doing that grassroots work. Like you mentioned earlier, Precise Tifa, she's phenomenal. You know, I used to work with her. She was one of the radio DJs on WGCI. So It's good to see her back out there trying, you know, continually hustling to get, you know, that name recognition that she needs beyond, you know, the Chicago borders. So I'm just excited for all of the young artists that are out there, and I'm wishing good things for them. You know, you named quite a few. Precise, you know where you're way deeper in it than I am. I'm more peripheral, but it's really good to see.
It's your boy Rome J. I'm with Crystal Roberts. She's the sales planning manager for BET Network. She's stationed here in Chicago. We're honored to have her here with us on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Precise is still with us. Crystal, I gotta ask you, because we're so happy that you're here. You know, we know that DMX has struggled with drug addiction, you know, just over the span of his career, as far as we know. And, you know, he's never hidden that from us. He's been totally open about it and honest about it. And, you know, just what does that say about him as a person, you know, and as an artist, to share those intimate parts of himself and to be just as honest as he's always been?
You know, I think that him sharing his addiction to drugs and the struggles that he's had coping with that addiction is very powerful. The fact that, you know, he says when he was 14 years old and, you know, he's smoking just weed and then someone laces it with the crack and then there you go with that. Right. You know, and so, you know, it's like a cautionary tale, right? So it helps us to have conversations with the younger people, right? When they're out here interacting with their peers and just being careful about what you allow someone to give you to consume, you know, and just being very careful with that. I think that his story is something that needs to be heard and needs to be told. You know, I think a couple of years ago, he did a memoir that he laid it all out, you know, about his drug abuse and, you know, his in and out of jail and juvenile detention and, you know, assault and carjacking and all of these things that he did, which began because of the drug use, you know, and the drug use was because he's hanging out with some friends and they're just smoking weed and then somebody puts crack in something, you know, and so it really helps us to have conversations with the young people about being careful about what you consume and put into your body, because you just never know. You might be that one that that's turned out. You know, he has a song that a lot of his music talks about his struggle with drugs, and it's a powerful message to send out and for kids and for young people to hear those messages and use that information to not go down that path.
Yeah, I mean, DMX is somebody who truly, he rapped it, he sings it, he prays it, he talks it, he lives it, you know. So we see these same conversations sometimes, they happen all the time in Chicago, unfortunately, with other rappers like Juice World and Fredo Santana, who died from accidental overdoses. And G Herbo with his PTSD from street violence, and then Kanye West even with his public mental health journey. Precise, in light of what's going on with DMX, how should the music industry, you know, consumers and fans, how should we have these hard conversations about addiction and mental health?
Well, first off, let me say, God bless Juice World and Fredo Santana. I'm looking at Juice World, and man, that brother was so talented, brother. I mean, special. He was so special. You know, the music industry needs to attack these issues with mental health head on. Because even as we talk, you know, in the contemporary space about Juice WRLD and Fredo Santana, we can also talk about Michael Jackson. We can also talk about Whitney Houston. We can talk about Prince. What is it about this industry that causes these amazing talents to need something outside of themselves to be able to center themselves, right? So this is something where I totally appreciate DMX's transparency when it comes to sharing his struggle. On the other side of that transparency, you know, as we lost Juice WRLD, if you hear Juice WRLD tell his story about how he got addicted to drugs or what made him start doing drugs, it was because of another musician who maybe wasn't sharing a struggle but was glorifying an aspect of it that was attractive to him. So really speaking clearly and truthfully about the impact of how drugs can affect people mentally and physically, it just needs to be spoken about. It needs to be at the top of the list because we're losing so many people consistently, and it just really has to stop.
Okay, so get this. Today, Master P had this to say about DMX. DMX is an icon. I just hate that we have to wait till something happens to one of these guys or to one of us before everybody really starts saying how much they care and they love you, he explained. I mean, we got to figure out how to prevent that. Drugs done killed a lot of our great ones and sent a lot of them to prison. And I'm praying for DMX and his family. And I hope that people start celebrating these icons while they're alive. Imagine all the stuff we could have prevented for DMX to help him. And that was reported by TMZ. And Master P went on to say that the hip hop industry, get this actually sounds like a pretty good idea. He went on to say that hip hop, it needs a union to protect its talent, similar to what professional athletes have in the NBA through the Players Association. I mean, these guys get paid big money, but it doesn't always mean that they're protected and that things are done in their best interest. So to Crystal, I'll go to you first. I'm really interested in this idea of a union for hip hop artists and rappers. What do you think about that idea?
You know what? I think it's a great idea because I think that these young artists and even the older artists need to be protected in some way. These record labels a lot of times are using these people and taking advantage of their maybe not their ability to understand all the nuances of their contracts and stuff like that. And they take advantage of them into what Precise said earlier about, you know, these advances that a lot of these that the talents get. This money is a loan. This is a loan. This is money that you have to pay back. And so there's a whole lot of education and learning that needs to happen around the hip hop industry and just music in general to help the young people, just like they do with a lot of the athletes and stuff like that come into the NBA. They give them the financial courses. They do all this kind of stuff to help guide people that you know may never have had this much, have seen this much money in their lives before, and then to be more discerning about what they do and who they allow into their circles. So I think that being a part of a union would help in some way, but you want to make sure that the union is there also to make sure that these things transpire and that people are being taken care of in a meaningful way, and not just another way for money to be siphoned from these talented people, because that ends up being what happens in a lot of instances where the record labels and everyone around them that's atop of them is making all the money, and then just it's like a trickle down effect, the same type of effect that, you know, our government tries to tell us is a good thing, you know, and it's not. So I think that a union would help for sure the hip hop community.
For sure.
Well, definitely. Precise, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was watching an interview earlier that Fat Joe did. And, you know, he actually spent 4 months in jail for quote unquote tax evasion. And he was actually paying his accountant money to pay his taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is because, you know, ultimately the accountant ended up being a crook. So he had to go serve time for this. But to Crystal's point with respect to financial literacy and mental health issues, these are things that need to be created. So the idea of a union makes all the sense in the world. We just need to make sure that it's organized properly so that people, again, to Crystal's point, that people are being taken care of properly. I mean, there's so many, the money that these kids are making these days, where they can make phones out of their money, you know, like money phones.
They're on up the block. Yeah, they listen to it.
Get it on their arm and all this kind of stuff. Yo, something has to be done where they understand, like, look, first of all, technology is changing the way we're spending our money. Bitcoin, your dollar is changing to a Bitcoin and all of these things. So this education needs to be paramount on all levels. So I'm all for a union for all musicians, specific to the hip hop culture.
Most definitely. And to end the show on a lighter note, because we're all about celebrating and honoring DMX today. Tell me, Chris and Precise, what's y'all's favorite DMX song?
Ladies first.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to even say. You know, I in my bio I wrote that I used to in a former life used to do poetry and worked with some of the poets in the Chicago area, Malik Yusef, J. Ivy, those guys, and so. Actually, there's a poem. I don't know if anyone knows that DMX actually has a poem on his Great Depression album. So it's called Sometimes. And I think that really speaks, if you read that poem, it really speaks to his mental. And I think that's what's the most powerful 16 lines that he could have written. To me, you know, it really speaks to him. He talks about being a fiend. He talks about, you know, the hood. He talks about his friends dying, and it's a really powerful poem. If you all want to check it out, it's called Sometimes. It's on the Great Depression album.
I'll definitely be checking out that. I haven't heard that. My favorite one is Who We Be. I think that is the most powerful song DMX has ever done.
Yeah.
Because he takes you through the struggles and he takes you through the pain, and then he brings you to the greatness of who we are. And I think that is DMX's legacy. Just being able to know that he was able to rise from the gutter, yo. This DMX was robbing people, yo.
Yes.
He was a stick-up kid.
He was a stick-up kid.
DMX was a stick-up kid.
He was sticking up kids in prison. So he was in there like, give me your stuff, you know.
Right. But to flip that and to know that he was once taking stuff, but he was giving himself to the public, and we love him for that. X, we love you, brother. Please come back to us, brother.
Yes, sir, most definitely.
Yeah,
for me, it's gotta be like a tie. I like Who We Be. I like Rough Riders Anthem, and I like What They Want. Like those, like
what they really want. Yeah, that's it. Right?
That one gets me going. About 3 kids.
What? I was listening to that to like get my energy up. I'm like, let me turn some DMX on.
Yeah, Karen, Vicky. That's
yes.
That's what gets me going.
Look, That's the straight up cheaters anthem. I'm sorry. That's the
Yeah,
straight up
it is.
cheaters anthem.
He
Okay.
had like 50, 11 girls in that song.
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm like.
About three Kims.
Wanda, Donna, Kim. I'm like,
Karen and Vicky got me. You know, he had a white girl. Her name was Karen.
Of course. Right?
he had them all colors, but Puerto Rican, white, he don't care. You know, he's mixing it up. I mean, the man got like what, 15 kids, so he was mixing it up.
Crystal, there was some Karens in that trailer after party. You know, there was some Karens up in there somewhere.
I'm sure after the after party, because you know, after we did our thing, you know, because he was like trying to invite us to the after party. It was like, I think we've had enough, but thanks.
and that was the West Side then. It wasn't the West Loop. It was really the West Side then.
It was straight up West Side. No, not West Loop. West Side. Okay, Madison. All right.
Exactly.
Facts. So just before we end the show off tonight, guys, is there anything y'all want to just say about X that I didn't ask you before I close out the show? Is there anything you guys want to get off your chest? Crystal, we'll start off with you, please.
You know, not really anything I want to get off my chest, but if, you know, I would really like to just send prayers up for DMX. You know, like I said, he was always like a really stand-up guy when he was around, very, you know, respectful. I mean, even though he was, you know, gruffy, he really kind of had a soft side to him. So I'm praying that he pulls through, you know, for his children, for his family, for the fans. I'm glad that you invited me on the show to talk about him and to give him his flowers. You know, I just pray for, you know, a complete healing for him. You know, he's a very religious person. You know, he loves God. He loves, you know, he talks about him often. He studies the Bible religiously.
Absolutely.
But he just had those demons that he couldn't kick, you know, and sure. You know, I'm praying for DMX and his family. Yes. So thank you for allowing me to come on and talk about it.
Yes. Same thing, brother. I'm just saying prayers for the brother. Positive vibrations. I just want to say thank you to the brother for all the great music he supplied us with, all the great energy, the laughs, and man, to anybody out here who is struggling with mental health, and please take a moment and go get some help. You know, reach out. People are here to help you, and we don't have to succumb to any negativity. And I'm just here to remember the best of DMX and make sure people remember who we be.
Most definitely. Well, let's see here. I want to personally thank you guys for stopping by. You guys can be anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with me. So, hey, thank you. And that's our show, guys. Once again, thank you to Precise and Crystal for coming through tonight. Y'all take care. Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, thank you, Precise and Crystal, for coming through. What a great show. Dope. And of course, we're always praying for DMX. And if you guys have any questions about the show or want to reach out to us, hit us up at connect@thetribe.com. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube page. You can find me on Twitter at @RomeJ_ and on Instagram at @RomeJ_TV. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. It's your boy Rome J and the Tribe. This is Tribe TV. I'm signing out. Do my Sammy Sosa. Peace.